Hello everybody and welcome back to Elderberry Sprout. Today I wanted to share with you my planner lineup for 2023. So first, to start off, I don't think anybody's too surprised by this, but I have my traveler's notebook. This is one that I've made, which there is a video of. I'll link all these down below. But this is a traveler's notebook that I keep a bullet journal in with a couple additional signatures. So in this bullet journal, I have a signature that is a long-term signature. So this has stuff that I'll reference when I set up my new bullet journals, long-term goals, long-term lists. I'm still filling this out because I'm migrating stuff from my old journals into this one right now. So I'm going to put a little title, probably like long-term lists on the front of that. And this one does have, it's pretty thick. It has a little pocket in it, and I stitched this leather pen loop onto it, and that's been working really well for this mechanical pencil. I've got some lists, a little writing board, and then yeah, just some lists in there. Only a couple of them, I haven't finished setting that up yet. And then, so my next signature is my spirit book signature, which is essentially my book of shadows. So I just finished up my last one, so it's nice to be going into a new year with a new little signature. And actually, let me show you this now. This is where I keep all of my different Book of Shadows signatures, and I have finally filled it all the way up, which is super satisfying because I made this book on the channel as well, so it's about time for me to make a new one of these. So in this spirit book, or like spiritual journal, I write down tarot spreads, I write down notes about different things I'm learning about, a lot of different research and how it relates to spiritual development, and general journaling and things that I'm dealing with and how I feel like my progress is going with certain goals. So it's kind of like a reflections journal. And this is just a normal piece of paper that I put some wrapping paper on and some scrapbook paper, a little label there, and some extra scrapbook paper on the back. And then we get to my bullet journal. So my bullet journal is the main thing that I use in this journal, hence why it's like in the exact center of it. So I did a flip through of my 2023 setup for the bullet journal. I'll link that down below as well. But I want to share with you my new January setup. I am so happy with how this turned out. So this setup is based on this wrapping paper that my sister wrapped a present of mine in, and I just thought these little gnomes were so stinking cute that I was not ready to move on from like this Christmassy kind of color scheme. So I kind of toned it down a little bit, just focusing on the mushrooms with the red so I can still use that wrapping paper. And if you saw my December setup, you'll be able to see I'm kind of doing a similar thing here where I have my habits, a calendar, my, I guess, weekly goals, like moon phase goals, and then a little cutoff here so that on all of these different pages, I'll be able to see my daily habits on the side so I can just check them off in these columns. So I'm really happy with how this one turned out, and I'm super excited to start the year with a beautiful setup like that. Okay, then after the bullet journal, which also has a pen loop attached with a little binder clip on the top. Let's close that up so it lays a little bit more flat. After that, I have this, I guess, folder, which I made on this channel. Link it down below. Geez, I've done a lot of this on the channel. Anyway, this is another folder. I had to flip it upside down because this pen loop I put on the back, which having it as the back portion of this, I wanted it to have a little bit of extra room here so that there was actually room for the pen. So the bulk of this paper is giving a little bit more space so that it doesn't kind of have a weird lump on the edge there. So I flipped it upside down. Thankfully, I'm not losing any of my rulers, so that's a good thing. But I have my sewing project signature, and this one, I'm about to finish this one up too, so I'll have to make a new one. And I do like having my sewing projects be separate from my general journaling, because sometimes my sewing projects will take months, and like, you know, I set it on a pile and then don't touch it for a long time. So this is a little bit longer term than my bullet journal is. Like you can see this when I started December of last year, so it's stood the test of time, and I definitely think I'm going to do this again. So once I finish this one up, I'll do it again. So that's the traveler's notebook. I've been loving this system. It's a little bit bulky, but I'm okay with that. Just the fact that I can store everything that's super important in one notebook is really reassuring to me. So that's my traveler's notebook. The next notebook is also a traveler's notebook, but it's this little tiny guy. So this is a pocket-sized, kind of roughly a pocket-sized traveler's notebook that I made. And I have a, let's see, I'll show you. I have a couple of signatures in here. So I have one little folder for scrap paper. I've got this little signature, which I haven't started using yet. I've got this little signature. I did make another one of these signatures just because they're so fun. They're so fun to make with like weird offcuts of scrapbook paper. And I even had like some weird offcuts of paper that I put in the center as the signature. And I just stapled this along the edge to get it to stay together. But I made another one of these guys. And then I've got this one, the little book in the back that I got from the dollar store, and I made that pocket in the back of this to slip that in. And this, if I have daily lists, I'll throw this in here. A shopping list will live in here, and then I can take this in my purse with me if I'm going out and about and I don't want to carry this big guy. So this one I'm committing to not feeling guilty about not using it. It's supposed to serve a function for me, and if I feel like I want to bring my big bullet journal with all my lists, then I'll bring that. And if I want to just do a quick outing with a couple little things, then I'll just take this guy and jot those down and get out the door quick. And then I'll have a lighter bag for that day. So this one is really adaptable for my general uses. And the next one, this is the new addition to me. So the newest planner in my lineup is this Passion Planner. And this is not a planner that came out this year. This one I found at a thrift store for about $2. So I thought since it was from last year, it would be worth me trying to change the dates a little bit and see if I can make it work for this year. Because I've never worked with a Passion Planner before, and I love the design on the front. It's got a snake. It's really beautifully colored and designed. The back is beautiful too. So I just thought I'd experiment with it. So with a Passion Planner, it provides a whole bunch of different, mainly like goal setting things. So it allows for you to figure out what your goals are, which I think is really fun. I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to, now that it's the very end of the year, I'm gonna really dive into this super deep in the next couple days. But I have gone through and redone the dates on it. So let me show you that. So here you can see I've cut out all these different little days and glued it on over and wrote the right years. And it took a while to do that, but I think it was rewarding. So I also did that, let's see, on the monthly spread. So this I'm gonna have to do every month, or I can just do it all in the beginning of the year and do the update. But then weekly, I experimented with all different sorts of ways to do this. So for 1 week, I whited it out and then wrote the number on top. I think that was my favorite system, but there were a couple other things. I did washi tape on one of them. But yeah, I think I'll probably just continue with the whiteout and just a normal pen on top of that. But the cool thing about this journal, well, there's a lot of cool things. Well, there's a lot of cool things about this journal, but one of the cool things, let me make sure I'm in frame. Ooh. One of the cool things is that it has an hourly readout, and I've always thought about logging what I do by the hour. I didn't used to do this, and I've experimented with it a couple of times, but never in something that was pre-planned. It was always me having to write the numbers down, and I felt like that was a little bit too much of a barrier to entry, having to write down all those numbers for every day. So having a separate journal that's all pre-set up, I think might actually allow for me to experiment with tracking hourly what I'm doing. Because I do know that I have a tendency to overestimate how long things will take, to the point where I don't do them just because it's daunting, and I have slight perfectionism issues, so trying to do things perfectly takes a long time, and I just don't do the things I want to do. So a couple of tools for that will be me actually tracking how long things take, so I can be like, oh, it's actually not as daunting as I thought it was. And also, I got this little clock, or little, let me zoom in on that. I also got this little alarm clock type thing. It's a mechanical timer, and it's super cute. I just love this one. I got it on Etsy. It was like $7 or something, and then plus shipping on top of that, but it's all mechanical, so I don't need to wind it. I don't need to do anything to it, and I have this by my computer so I can time breaks, I can time chores that I'm doing, and it's pretty tiny, so I can take it with me wherever I'm going. And yeah, so that's going to be a part of this system as well. allowing for me to track my time. If there's something that's kind of scary to me, I'll set a timer for 20 minutes and just let it go off, and when it's done, it's done. So this will be super helpful for me tracking and, I don't know, finally realizing that the things I want to do are not as scary as I'm thinking that they are. So I do foresee a potential issue, and that would be that I do the majority of my planning in my bullet journal, right? And if that's the case, I feel like I might, on a given day, have the issue of writing all my goals down in my bullet journal and then not tracking them hourly on here. So I'm gonna have to play around with the concept of using my bullet journal as like kind of a brainstorm of like what I actually want to do, and then maybe do that in the mornings and the evenings, and then throughout the day actually do the tracking of, okay, I did this, and then just reference this. So I'll be writing throughout the day in this journal, referencing this journal. And then in the evening, maybe I'll check off the things that I did complete and migrate. And if there are time allotments that I've written down in my bullet journal, I'll be able to transfer them into here. So if I have an appointment or I'm working or whatever that might be, I can actually transfer it into there if I know when that's going to happen. So I'll have to play around with that. We'll see if this ends up being just like too much tracking to handle, but I know that at least I'll get some value from the Passion Planner through doing the goal setting and reflection prompts. Oh, I didn't even show you that. So at the end of each month, let's see, I'll get to one of them. Boop. So at the end of each month, there is a page of reflection prompts. And it talks about how you meet your goals. Let's see, I'll read them out. The most memorable part of your month, the biggest lesson you learned, how did your planner help, what did you accomplish, and what are you grateful for, things you can improve on. So it's basic reflection prompts, but I think having a designated space to do that and the fact that it's already set up monthly will allow for me to kind of be more accountable to doing that in a monthly setting. So I'm really excited that this was a $2 experiment, and if it doesn't work out, I don't have to feel too guilty about it. So yeah, that's my planner lineup for for 2023. I would love to hear if you guys have worked with a Passion Planner, how that worked for you, and do you still use a Passion Planner? I'd love to hear about your guys' experiences with that. I hope you guys found it interesting to peek into my planning system, and thank you so much for watching all through the year. The channel has grown so much in the last year, and I just want to say a warm thank you to you guys because I couldn't have done it without you. So thank you so much for watching and sticking around on the channel, and yeah, I hope you have a great 2023. Bye.